Hey folks, it's Cameron from the Brushfire Mind, and this is coffee. If you check out the link down below in the description, you can find ways to support us by buying us more coffee. Okay, thanks.
Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors.
No, I'm just not going to let you address them. Excellent. So let's do this.
Oh my.
Oh, I'm already disappointed.
Hey, could you turn the volume up on the video itself?
I can.
Ish.
But there's not any volume yet. Oh my god. Oh yeah, that's right. I heard he was a half an hour late.
Something
so I'm not even going to pause the video. I'm just going to talk over it for a minute. He was half an hour late. And this was, okay, so here he comes. This is something that I talked about repeatedly.
With the Obama?
With the Obama.
Good afternoon. Since I became Attorney General, I have made clear that the Department of Justice will speak through its court filings and its work.
And it has.
Okay.
And it has.
I already have to. All right. Okay, so this is something Obama did. He was always late. It's a power move. It's a flex. It's a fuck you, peasant. I show up when I want to, and you will wait on me. And I mean, look at this fucking weasel. Look at this fucking weasel.
See, the volume on the video is low.
Okay, so I'll try to bump that up a hair.
Now, the Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant and property receipt relating to a court-approved search that the FBI conducted earlier this week. That search was of premises located in Florida belonging to the former president.
Like we didn't know.
The department did not make any public statements on the day of the search. The former president publicly confirmed the search that evening, as is his right. Copies of both the warrant and the FBI property receipt were provided on the day of the search to the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search.
Okay, we already know from the commentary from the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search, that a copy of the warrant, which was not complete, was provided on the day of the search. On the day of the search, the probable cause portion of the warrant was apparently redacted or sealed. And so the statement that he's just made is a weaselly statement. It's, well, we gave him something.
It's true.
In the most technical sense, it's kind of true.
George Kellichek has joined us. Good evening, sir.
Hey, George, good to see you. And sorry, George, you're in for one of those bumpy rides tonight because I already took off the fuck bomb filter for this episode. Because, I mean, look at this fucking weasel.
The search warrant was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of probable cause.
Which was?
Probable cause. What probable cause? That's the thing. There's hardly an accusation, let alone any mention of a probable cause. And the lawyer that received the sealed warrant at the scene has spoken publicly about that now. We covered that this morning, and was very clear that the probable cause was not a part of the information that was delivered to her. Remember, we were talking about April Bob this morning. Great ass.
The property receipt is a document that federal law requires law enforcement agents to leave with the property owner. The department filed the motion to make public the warrant and receipt in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter. Faithful adherence to the rule of law is the bedrock principle of the Justice Department.
You know, there's a substantial public interest in the outcome of the 2020 election. Where's that warrant, motherfucker?
He said, it's the bedrock. Like, he meant it. Like, he didn't crack a smile. Like, that was the part when I was listening to this earlier today, I wanted to throw up. It's like, it's the bedrock. Oh, that's what it is? Just a better... Because you guys care about law and order so much.
Yes, okay. If you are his people, you can burn down courthouses. You can burn down the church across the street from the White House. You can tear down the barricades around the White House. You can attack the president. You can throw Molotov cocktails at cars in New York without consequences. Without consequences. If you just don't agree with his position on vaccines, you're a target for swatting. Make no mistake, that's what this is.
Well, it's the bedrock of law to say that, parents that are pissed that their kids are being taught garbage in school are terrorists. That's the bedrock of law.
Right. But not people that, arsonists are not the same thing as terrorists, obviously. However,
they are two separate criminal statutes.
Straight married people raising children are identical with terrorists.
Nope, push play.
Department and of our democracy.
Oh, wait.
See, I told you it worked.
It's not just the bedrock of their department.
It's the bedrock of our democracy.
Oh, I feel...
our democracy. It's not the bedrock of other democracies.
That's right. Our democracy is different than everybody else's democracy.
And I want to clue you in on something about democracy. I wish I'd have pulled the clip of Nicholson doing the rat. I smell a rat. Oh.
It's okay. You
clue you in about a little something about our democracy here, you fucking rat bastard. This is a representative republic. A legitimate democracy. We talk about democratic process. That's one thing. An actual pure democracy would be nightmare fuel.
Tyranny of the majority, baby.
I'd have a blast.
Well, yeah, if you kill enough of the wrong voters.
I live rather happily and comfortably in war zones. I've seen me do it. It would be a fucking vacation. But my man, that's not what you want.
Holding the rule of law means applying the law evenly, without fear.
I'm going to need a new keyboard.
They applied the law evenly. I couldn't pause this when I listened to her
emails.
I know, but that's a whataboutism, Chris.
But his laptop.
But that's a whataboutism, Chris.
But his public statements about bribing foreign entities with American taxpayer dollars.
But that's a whataboutism, Chris.
But his Chinese spy whore.
But that's a whataboutism, Chris. Okay.
No, it's not. In fact, and the joke stands. But it's not a whataboutism. The fact of the matter is, you've made the statement, we have applied the law evenly. And the fact is, you are lying through what few teeth you have left, you sniveling rat cunt.
Yeah, no, okay.
Because those aren't whataboutisms. Those are legitimate, obvious crimes which have taken place and gone unpunished. Swalwell's still on the Intelligence Committee, isn't he?
Well, I mean, and then you got Dianne Feinstein.
I mean, let alone still in office.
I mean, as far as I know, he never even stopped doing the bang bang with Fang Fang. So, and look, Feinstein is still in office, and her driver was a Chinese spy. So, applied evenly.
Unverified, my man.
Oh, nice. Hello to the monarchy. How you doing?
Indeed.
Thanks for joining us. Hey, he might not. Steve says, "Hey, Barry, you're up late." He might not be up late. He might be up early.
No, it's late.
It could be hella early.
No, it's midnight.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm thinking further. I mean, that could. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. And look.
We are the West.
I'm tracking, okay? And look, let's just assume for a second that Donald Trump is guilty of stealing classified material.
I'm sorry, Rebel Jack. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the democracy in which it stands. Rebel Jack nailed it. And to the republic for which it stands.
Yeah, thank you, Rebel Jack. Hey, but supposedly, because I checked CNN and Drudge Report 5 minutes before we went live, there's still no reports that the warrant itself has been unsealed. So we're still operating under the theory that Donald Trump stole classified material. Did he steal 33,000 pieces of classified material and then smash all his phones with hammers and erase all his hard drives with bleach bit?
Oh! You forgot an important piece of that. She destroyed all of that after she was subpoenaed for it.
Oh, yeah. But she didn't mean to do a bad.
Well, certainly she spent a large pile of money on her fines and court fees and jail time for refusing to comply with a subpoena from the...
Right. Right. Oh, no, keep going. Gets better. I promise. You won't make it 30 seconds. It gets good from here.
Or favor. Under my watch, that is precisely what the Justice Department is doing.
Okay, I already said he's a liar, so we'll just keep going. We'll just...
Under my watch, yes, exactly. Under your watch,
correct. Under your
the
watch.
Justice Department is status fucking quo, sir. You are correct.
Oh man, Legion, Seth Rich. We haven't talked about that in a hot. I don't know.
We can't go down that rabbit hole.
We may have just lost this stream by me saying those words out loud.
All Americans are entitled to the even-handed application of the law, to due process of the law, and to the presumption of innocence.
Like Judge Kavanaugh, for example?
Right.
Or maybe Kyle Rittenhouse, for example?
What about those guys that...
The McMichaels?
Well, I was going to say the guys in the Gretchen Whitmer case. Man, that one guy that took a plea deal for mercy. Damn.
Yeah. He's... Well, like the January 6th prisoners of war who have been sitting in solitary confinement for...
Well, they can't be prisoners of war because it wasn't an actual insurrection.
You know, funny thing. It may have been an insurrection defense.
Much of our work is by necessity conducted out of the public eye. We do that to protect the constitutional rights of all Americans and to protect the integrity of our investigations. Federal law, long-standing department rules, and our ethical obligations
They're ethical obligations.
You said ethics.
They're ethical obligations, Chris. It's not just their ethics.
I think he meant ethnical obligations.
Wow. Woo! You know what? We just should go ahead. Look, trans people are stupid. Now we've hit all the offensive things in one stream. Right there.
prevent me from providing further details as to the basis of the search at this time. There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter.
We knew. We knew, dude. We knew. Glad you finally copped to it, but, bruh, we knew. I'm sorry. It's just, I've already listened to this, and I finally get to... Please, have your turn.
In a world that includes Black Lives Matter as an organization, this man has been a champion for the idea that white supremacy is the greatest threat to national security. In a world that includes North Korea testing nuclear weapons, Russia actively invading other countries and threatening to use nuclear weapons.
Ooh, China doing drills just because our speaker flew to Taiwan.
Yep.
But you and I are the bad guys.
In a world that includes those things, white supremacy is the greatest threat to national security. I dare you to find a meeting of a group of white supremacists. Try.
in a world of white supremacy.
I can promise you this. If you find them, they'll be socialists.
Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. Where possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken.
That is probably the most honest thing he said in this entire press conference.
Where possible.
Yes. Like I said, it is probably the most honest thing.
So, Trump was subpoenaed for documents recently and handed them over. So, there's no evidence that I can think of that he was resistant, that it was not possible to engage in this particular search. If it could even be just, let's assume for a moment that there's reasonable justification to have conducted this intrusive activity to begin with. You're telling me that I'm to believe that basically Donald Trump met you at the door of Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and said, hell no, you can't come in here. Now, it's important to note that in this conversation, when I say that you want me to believe that, we know that he wasn't even in Florida at the time.
Yep. It's almost like they did that on purpose. But they wouldn't do that.
They were looking for his vodka.
Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors.
No, I'm just not going to let you address them. Fuck you. Your FBI has been entirely co-opted by the Chinese state and is now an enemy of the American people.
I mean...
Name for me one thing the FBI has done in view of the public in recent memory that has not been a direct attack on an innocent citizen.
They investigated the hell out of that NASCAR news.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
I mean, clown. I will not let
and
you...
they almost kidnapped the shit out of Whitmer. And they insurrectorated the motherfucker out of the
Stop.
The whatever it was.
Stop. Don't do it. Don't get that. We're skating on that edge. It's razor thin. Don't go on the line. Y'all, look. Seriously, when I heard him say this earlier today, I'm not going to allow other people to basically impugn the integrity of the FBI. Bruh, they don't need our help.
Right.
They got it.
The FBI doesn't have integrity. It hasn't had integrity.
Ever?
Yeah, for starters. But it's...
I mean, it was weaponized immediately.
For the last 10 to 15 years, it has just gotten progressively more and more difficult to pretend like the FBI was anything other than a weapon of foreign interests against the United States. Like I said this morning, maybe the thing we need is for the CIA to invade the United States and install a U.S.-friendly government.
I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked.
Okay.
The men and women of the
up.
FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants.
2 out of 3 ain't
Every day,
bad.
they protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, and other threats to their safety, while...
We know that the biggest terror threats that have been foiled by the FBI turned out to a 1. And this isn't some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory shit. They were actually, much like the Whitmer thing and the January 6th event, FBI ops. They were committed and conducted, or they groomed someone to do it for them, the activity so that they could thwart it.
Unverified Bear says they used to have integrity, but they were cured by the 3rd booster.
Yeah.
while safeguarding our civil rights. They do so at great personal sacrifice and risk to themselves. I am honored to work alongside them. This is all I can say right now. More information will be made available in the appropriate way and at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Dude, just take your hands off the camera. It's on a tripod. Just take your fucking hands off of it and let it sit there. It won't shake like that. Just take your hands off. You put your hands on it, it gets all squirrely. Like, just take your fucking hands off of it. It's okay.
Well, you understand, he's standing at the back of the room and he's zoomed in, so every time he sneezes on it.
Exactly. So get your hands off. It's worse. Steve points out you ought to read what the FBI did in the 50s and 60s. You mean like provide the wiretapping equipment to the Watergate Democrats, for example?
Yeah. Look, okay, the appropriate information will be made at the appropriate time and the appropriate channels and all the... Dude, you are literally America's top cop. You could just make this shit happen. You're clearly not afraid to exercise your influence in extra legal ways. So why not just go ahead and bend a couple more rules? I mean,
this press conference alone should make you want to look back at every case that he was involved in and
like
just
ever.
flip it.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and flip it. You can't reasonably expect this man to have ever been correct about anything. An angry conservative asked the question, why did it take him 3 days to come out and say that?
Because they totally didn't have anything to hide, Chris.
Nothing at all.
That's why they sealed the warrant in the first place.
Yeah, because, well, he's unsealed the warrant. He's got nothing to hide. So why was it sealed to begin with?
Is it standard practice to seal warrants?
No.
I was about to say, I would imagine that a warrant would have to be a matter of public record because a concerned citizen needs to be able to go, hey, my neighbor's house got raided. I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Yeah, the Fourth Amendment says we're to be secure in our persons, properties, and papers without due process,
And your safes and your wife's underwear drawer?
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, yeah. But people forget about the Sixth Amendment, right? You've heard us talk about it. Don't talk to cops. The cops are not your friend. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law, and more importantly, nothing you say can or will be used in your favor in a court of law. And people remember to invoke the Fifth Amendment. People forget this one. And guys, it pays to read up, right? When you take the citizenship test, you answer 10 questions out of 100. One of the questions, for example, is, what are the 5 rights guaranteed by the First Amendment? And most Americans can't list them. But for the record, they are the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, the freedom of assembly, peaceful assembly, BLM, and the freedom to petition the government for redress of grievances. The Sixth Amendment includes the guarantee, that's the jury trial by jury or peers, and the right to face your accuser. So if there's probable cause listed to create a warrant, and that warrant is sealed, your Sixth Amendment right to face your accuser has been violated. If he personally did it, then he, as an agent of the government, has then violated Trump's rights under color of law.
Boy, look at that face he's making right there.
And swatted Donald Trump. And even though the Donald wasn't home at the time, every case of swatting, just like every case of doxing, should be treated like attempted murder.
Look at that face he's making right there. He knows. He knows. That's the face of a man that knows. He knows that.
General, the former president said this
FBI agents. Thank you all for your questions, but as I said, this is all I can say at this time.
Yeah,
and there it is again.
Yeah, it's like he knows he came out and he just rode the line. Our friends from the TPS report, they go live in about a half hour.
Yeah, I was definitely planning on shouting you out before we gave it up.
Yeah,
tonight.
they go live in about a half hour, y'all, and we're planning on being done in plenty of time. So if you're still up, go check them out. They're good friends of the show. We go on their show, they go on ours. We love them to death. Go check them out. And Alex from the TPS says he's only releasing the warrant to appease people. The warrant is irrelevant. It's not the important document.
And that's correct. But it should contain the probable cause. And what that probable cause is. Probable cause is necessarily the accusation of a specific crime.
I saw you take money out of the cash register.
So
that is probable cause for the law to investigate if you actually took money out of the cash register.
Like with the whole Russia thing, we talked about this. We've talked about this several times before. With the whole Russia thing, they kept using that language. Everybody was very careful with that language. They kept using the language collusion because there is no crime called collusion. There is a crime that is what they meant when they said collusion, and that's conspiracy to defraud the American people. But they were always very careful not to actually allege that exactly, not to allege the actual crime that they were trying to make you believe he committed. And that's because they never believed he committed it. So they were trying to dodge a defamation question by very carefully just not saying, well, he actually did it. It was like, you know what he did. You know what he did. I don't. Won't you say it? Oh, no.
No, well, everything about the left revolves around what Scott Adams has termed, and I think he's got a good language for this. He says that the Don is like the mafia Don. See, he talks like a mafia boss, right? He says things and he means things other than what he says. Like if I say, hey, Chris, man, you know, that guy over there is really pissing me off. Can you just go take care of him? I, of course, mean go talk to him. I'm not in the mood. See, but when Donald Trump says it, Donald Trump's like, I need you to go take care of him. Right? Look what they did to my beautiful boy. Right? So that's what that's what they said with Donald Trump from the beginning. Like all the way back from the beginning when he said, hey, Russia, are you listening? I'm sure you have a copy of Hillary's emails. I thought that was hilarious trolling. Okay, I understood exactly what that was. That was Donald Trump doing one of these right here and being extremely humorous as he did it. But there were people that like would look at you straight in the face and be like, he invited Russia to spy on Hillary. And I'm like, listen, sugar tits, for starters, Russia was already spying on Hillary. Let's be clear. Okay. And somehow you missed the point of what he said, that Russia's probably already got a copy of those missing emails.
I don't know that I agree with the idea that Russia was already spying on Hillary. If you just send people information, that's not spying.
No, they were still spying. They were still spying on her.
If you're totally complicit, like I mean, if you're just sliding that big old cheese dick in that Chinese slot and saying, "Listen, this morning I was listening to the president on the phone." Is she really spying? Because you're just giving it to her.
Yes, definitely giving it to her. You hit the wrong button. I had to.
No, I didn't.
Okay, all right. So analysis, okay, because we got to wrap it up so that people have time to go jump on Polytech. One of the theories that I posited, and I can't quite make all the pieces fit, but I always take a thing like this and theory craft it, try and figure out, okay, you know, if I'm a fiction writer, how do I make this work in a book? And the closest I can come to is maybe they found, and I'm going to use the word valid loosely here, okay? But maybe they they have a valid reason for raiding Donald Trump's house, and they deliberately sealed it in anticipation of Donald Trump acting like, frankly, Donald Trump. And now they get to go, oh, well, gosh, if you just want to be a great big penis breath about it, we'll totally unseal the warrant. And yes, that was a very specific thing that I said.
Wow. Yes, it was. That was a thing, and you said it.
That's right. Right. So, anyhow, but that's the closest I can get to it, because the scuttlebutt is that this is over the Presidential Records Act, which is a misdemeanor, and, you know, the FBI and their amazing integrity obviously needs to send 4 dozen agents to a former president's house over a misdemeanor, because integrity, bedrock of democracy, and all those words he said. But that's as close as I can get. And the reason why I'm not solid on that theory, though, is because what would be bad enough to justify the raid?
Right, he would have
and justify the sealing, but still be okay for him to unseal. And again, let me be clear: he's America's top cop. Like, whatever court this needs to go through to get unsealed, that whole thing, well, it's been submitted with the proper documentation in the court of law, blah, blah, blah.
You know, they told us that about the FISA warrants.
They did. I was going to make that point later, but thanks for making it now. But I was going to say that, look, if you're some judge down in, like, Tallahassee, Florida, and the attorney fucking general calls you and says, I need you to move that paperwork forward, you know what you do? You move the paperwork forward.
You mean like that time George Zimmerman defended himself and the police said this was obvious, clear-cut self-defense, and then the attorney general fired
that happened in Florida,
the state AG and said, hey, everybody raise your hand if you're willing to prosecute a white guy that happens to not be white because we hate white people.
A white Latino, excuse me. Well, I mean, I just assumed his gender.
I think that's fair. I mean, because while it's clear that what Zimmerman did was obvious, clear-cut self-defense, he's a bit of a dick. Like, nobody's saying that Zimmerman's a good guy. He just happened to be right that one time.
I think Zimmerman probably was a good guy before his life blew up in his face. That would be my guess.
I don't know. We're not going to relitigate Zimmerman right now, but there's a lot there. The guy's a dick.
No, but for real, I'm gonna come back to this. All he would have to do is call whatever judge down in Florida, and even if the judge wasn't us, if the attorney general calls me and says, move this to the front of the line, I'm going to move it to the front of the fucking line. This warrant could have been released in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Correct. And the warrant should be a matter of public record.
No, but it's national security interest.
Of course it is.
Just like the Russia hoax was national security interest. That Steele dossier was national security interest. If it's not coming through loud and clear, we have nothing but contempt for the entire situation. Okay? Here's the box. Here's us. This is the contempt. It's in the box.
Yeah. That's all I've got for this piece of shit right here.
This was your idea.
I know.
You should have just listened to this earlier today and not subjected yourself to this.
No, I mean, we got people talking. We had a good show, and we got to plug the TPS report. They might get an extra viewer and a half out of this, and
we got the angry conservative in the chat. It's nice to, yeah.
Indeed. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Firearms Friday. Y'all be safe, and hopefully I'll see most, if not all of you in the chat. I know probably no Angry in the chat or no Indy in the chat over there because they're doing their own thing. But, yeah. We'll see y'all hopefully in the chat over the TPS report and definitely tomorrow morning for Firearms Friday. Y'all be safe.